From the Weather NorCal Command Center, this is your evening update.
Well, good evening, everyone. Finally got back home. Had a great day today in Siskiyou County in particular. Started the morning off early in the morning and drove up to the Montague Hot Air Balloon Fair. We were there at about, I believe it was a little after 6 o'clock, about 6:30 in the morning. And then they launched somewhere between around 7:30. So you can see, of course, some of the balloons that we saw out there. This is a kind of a selfie that my wife took of us. And you can see we were wearing our hats, and her hat right there kind of says it all. It was a little chilly out there, at least for us Northern Californians, right? But just a gorgeous, gorgeous sight to see out there. The folks out at the Daybreak Balloon, who own the Daybreak Balloon, they were gracious enough to kind of let me with them behind the scenes, kind of help them set up their balloon and see how it gets all set up. So it was really an interesting process to see it all done. So I want to thank them. They're out of Oregon. And of course, there were some locals from Redding that are also part of the crew that invited me as well. So I want to thank them. I didn't get your names. I apologize, but boy, again, thank you so much. It was a fun opportunity, and I certainly appreciate it. And right there, we were able to get into that balloon. It was tethered, but we went up and then down. But you know what? That was a lot of fun. And hopefully, next year or the years to come, I'll be able to ride in one of those untethered and take it somewhere. I think that'd be kind of fun. All right, so yes, there's one more day. They're going to be out there again tomorrow morning, weather pending, to launch some more balloons. All right, so let's get to the forecast. We've got a lot to talk about. Let's get to Elk Country, Trinidad, North Trinidad, right? And there you can see the clouds that are moving on in here this afternoon and evening. This is a look out at Crescent City. Of course, you've got the overcast skies. Now, a lot of these clouds that you're seeing are mainly clouds in advance of the storm system that is approaching us. So when you look at the valley, no clouds, right? You see off in the distance there a little bit of that haze, but for the most part, just a beautiful fall day for pretty much everyone. We're looking at these great temperatures, not too hot, not too cool, just right out there for many of us. But here's what I'm tracking, because we do have some changes in store for us. So we've got some heavy coastal and mountain rain heading our way. The valley will see some rain as well, but I think the heaviest rainfall will be along the coast and in the mountains north and west of the valley. So in particular, western Siskiyou County, Trinity County, the mountains of Humboldt and Delnor County, and of course the coast as well. Not as much, though, in the eastern mountains or Modoc County for that matter, and of course, as I mentioned, the valley as well. Now, where we see the heaviest rainfall is where we also have the threat for flooding, mudslides, debris flows, especially some of the burn-scarred areas. And winds. The winds are also going to be a factor for everyone, including the valley, the mountains, and the coast. All right, so let's get you right into it. Let's start off, first of all, with the smoke. You know, the smoke wasn't too terrible this morning out in Montague. So when we see these yellows and oranges, yes, it's a little smoky out there, but it's not when you start getting kind of in those reds and those purples, right? So we didn't see that, and we're not going to see that again tomorrow morning. And then you can see another big plume of smoke that will produce from Sunday afternoon, Sunday evening. But as the rain begins to move in on Monday, watch happens. The smoke is gone. It just squashes all that smoke away, and we finally get a break from all of that smoke. And it's also going to bring some help in those firefighting efforts for those fires often in northwestern California. So here's the big picture. You've got this big mass of clouds. You've got a trough of low pressure right here. You've got that atmospheric river setting itself up. So that's got heavy rainfall, and not to mention associated with some of those gusty winds. Let's talk about that atmospheric setup. So right here, what I want to show you here is this is dry air right here, okay? So when you look at these browns and even some of the blues and greens, it's fairly dry air, okay? But when you start getting into these oranges and reds, this is when you start seeing the moist air, okay? So what these atmospheric rivers are, kind of think about in the past. Coconut Connection, Pineapple Express, that's what they were called in the past. And now the official terminology is being more and more used in the public. So that's where atmospheric river comes in. And you have this kind of this thin stream of moisture aimed right at Northern California. Think of it as like just aiming a garden hose, giving us all this moisture to work with, and the atmosphere is able to squeeze that out and give us that in the form of some rain. Now, it won't be here for very long. It will shift to the south. But look at Wednesday. I've been watching this potential for another very weak atmospheric river that could set up next Wednesday. The forecast model has been back and forth on whether or not it's actually going to produce any rain. So for now, I'm going to keep Wednesday through the end of next week dry. And really, quite honestly, that's something we can kind of tackle once we get through this first atmospheric river with the amount of rain that we're going to see with it. So as you can see, it kind of dries out again as we go into Thursday, Friday of next week. All right, so here's Futurecast. All right, let's take you hour by hour. This is what it looks like Sunday morning. Tomorrow morning at 5 a.m., we're beginning to see some light rain overspread. What we're seeing here is just a lot of cloud cover moving in. And I think what's happening is Futurecast is kind of picking up on all that cloud cover and, in a sense, kind of mistaking a lot of that for maybe some rain. Now, I think we're going to see some light showers Sunday morning, mainly west and northwest of the valley, so western Siskiyou County and in the inland areas and the coast. Again, very light rainfall. It's really not going to amount to much. Okay, then we take it through the afternoon and it kind of pushes eastward. So we could see a brief sprinkle or a light shower for parts of the valley, for pretty much everyone, really, is what we're looking at here throughout the day on Sunday. Is it going to be a washout? Absolutely not. If you have outdoor plans on Sunday, I wouldn't be concerned about it. So don't let this really deter you from doing anything outdoors, okay? But you could run into a brief heavier shower, as you can see here, for places like northwestern Modoc County, for example. But again, Sunday is not the main event, okay? We're going to take you into Monday, and that's what we're talking about here. So here's Sunday at 6 p.m. You see how it starts to kind of dry out, but look at right here. There's that atmospheric river, and it will be approaching Sunday night into Monday morning. So by the morning hours on Monday, this is your typical. You see how it leans from southwest to northeast. That's typical. So what happens is Del Norte County tends to get the rain first, and quite honestly also as a result tends to get most of the rain as well. So Del Norte County gets hit first. You can start to see a little bit of Humboldt County seeing it, but everyone else is dry. In fact, even clear skies for the valley eastward into the eastern mountains, right? But then as we go around noon on Monday, you see how that atmospheric river begins to kind of shift to the east. See who's still seeing the rain? Yeah, Del Norte County. That's why we're still seeing a lot of rainfall there. Western Siskiyou County. Now we're seeing all of Humboldt County and parts of Trinity County beginning to see some of that rain by noon as well. Okay, now we're going to take you to about 5 p.m. Now we're seeing things dry out at this point. So by Monday afternoon, Monday evening, things are starting to dry out for the north coast. Here's the atmospheric river. Now it's aimed right over Trinity County, Siskiyou County, really western and central Siskiyou County, and making its way into the north end of the valley as well. Still fairly dry for Red Bluff and Chico, not to mention the eastern mountains. That's Monday evening. So Monday will be dry for many of you still throughout the day. Now, as that atmospheric river starts to basically push down to the south, this is going to be some leftover moisture and rain that'll produce some rain for Modoc, eastern mountains, parts of the valley. That's Monday night. That's tomorrow night at 10 o'clock. All right, so now I'm going to take a look at long range. And as we go into Tuesday morning, we may still see some leftover moisture in the atmosphere that could bring us a brief light shower here as we go into especially Tuesday morning. By Tuesday afternoon, it looks like it dries out. Now, long-range forecast models have been all over the place for Wednesday through Friday of next week. Some days bringing in rain on one of the days, then it's taking it out. So you see this on Thursday, that may be gone by the next forecast model run. We'll have to kind of wait and see. So as of right now, let's just get through Monday and even Tuesday, and then we can really tackle the Wednesday, Thursday, Friday time frame. And really over the next couple of days, we'll start getting a better handle what will happen Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday of next week. But until then, let's just get through this first atmospheric river this season. And speaking of that, you can see as we go through Tuesday night, it's been kind of varying anywhere between 1 and 3 inches over the last several days of the long-range forecast models. Now it's kind of backing off a little bit, about 2 inches, but I'd say about 1 to 3 inches is a very good possibility, especially along the coast, especially over some of the higher peaks here in Del Norte and Humboldt counties. And then, of course, this is something that we typically see with these atmospheric rivers. You start shifting or heading eastward, you start seeing less and less rainfall, right? So you have the heaviest rainfall along the coast. much less rainfall off in the eastern mountains, and then of course somewhere in between that. We're not even seeing that much in the valley, but I think especially if that atmospheric river decides to kind of pause itself and stall itself out over the valley, we could see more than that. So we'll have to kind of wait and see, but I think most of it will be kind of confined in Del Norte, Humboldt, Trinity County, western Siskiyou County. East of that, I don't think we're going to see quite as much rainfall. And this really is being represented by the flood watch that we do have for those areas I was talking about, for western Siskiyou County, Del Norte, Humboldt counties. Now, as I mentioned, I think Trinity County is also going to see a lot of rainfall. I would not be surprised if eventually the Weather Service jumps on board and puts at least part of Trinity County in a flood watch. But as of right now, there is not a flood watch for Trinity County, but I do anticipate to see a lot of rainfall even for Trinity County. All right, let's switch gears. We'll talk about the winds now. All right. Now you can kind of see it's kind of scattered all over the place. Quite honestly, I think everyone's going to see winds, but I think it's the higher mountain peaks and that we're going to see some of the strongest winds, and not to mention out along parts of the coast as well. I think the valley will see some gusty winds as well, but probably not as strong as some of those higher mountain ridges. All right, so let's take a look at Futurecast, and you can see as we go into your Sunday about 4 p.m., it's the Shasta Valley here, right there in central Siskiyou County along the I-5 corridor. We could be looking at some gusty winds beginning to develop. We're seeing some gusty winds approach the coast, and it's beginning to pick up a little bit here for the coast as well. And even the valley and everywhere else, seeing the winds kind of picking up through the day on Sunday. But nothing major for most of us on Sunday, with the exception of central Siskiyou County. All right, now we're going to take you into Monday morning. Look at the coast. We're seeing sustained winds close to 30 miles per hour, even Hoopa 23 miles per hour. Very strong winds for parts of Siskiyou County. That is going to be a bit of a concern. And these are going to be winds that potentially could bring us some downed trees, power outages, something that we're going to have to watch here closely. Nothing that bad in the valley just yet. This is Monday morning at 8 a.m., okay? Now we're going to take you into Monday at 3 p.m. Winds beginning to die down, but still breezy, gusty for the coast. But you can see westward, you see this is the atmospheric river shifting eastward. Behind that atmospheric river, the winds aren't quite as strong. So now the valley getting in on those winds, 20, 30, 35 miles per hour are a very good possibility here, and maybe even stronger gusts than that as we go into Monday afternoon. And notice the eastern mountains. I mean, look at Alturas, 32 miles per hour. So we're seeing some gusty winds over some of those mountain ridge tops here as we go into Monday afternoon. By Monday night, still a little breezy in some spots here, but the winds overall are beginning to die down as that atmospheric river shifts to the south, and it's no longer really having much of an impact on our weather, and then entirely dying down by your Tuesday. Look at the wave heights. You can see here as we go into Sunday afternoon tomorrow, they're going to be getting pretty high off to the north and west. This will then overspread the coastal regions here, or should I say the ocean just off the coast here through the day on Monday as that atmospheric river is kind of pushing on through. All right, your marine forecast for your Sunday. South winds at 10 to 20 knots. Waves from the northwest at 5 feet at 9 seconds. Your high tide at 9:30 in the morning. Your low tide at 1:52 tomorrow afternoon. There's your sunrise and sunset. And there is also that small craft advisory. All right, your forecast for tonight. When we look at those temperatures dropping down in the low to mid 60s for the valley, 30s, 40s for the higher elevations along the coast and inland, low 50s. And for tomorrow, yeah, temperatures are starting to drop. Now the clouds are going to start to spread overhead. Now what I want you to take note, if you look at all of the clouds here and raindrops falling from every single one of the clouds on this map, okay, what I want to again stress is that it's not going to be that heavy. I think we could see some measurable rainfall in some spots, especially for the coast, especially for some of the mountain locations. But the valley, a stray sprinkle, a light shower here and there, but nothing really that impressive when it comes to measurable precipitation on Sunday. Nothing, quite honestly, to cancel many of those outdoor plans that you may have. All right, so now we look at the 7-day outlook. Monday's the main event. Clouds overhead. You've got heavy rainfall in some spots here. It's starting off on the coast and then pushing its way eastward through the day on Monday. And then it looks like for now, I'm going to dry things out for everyone by Wednesday through the end of next week into that next weekend. That may change as we get closer to the middle of next week. But in the meantime, the valley, yeah, we could see a slight chance for a stray sprinkle, a light shower today, but the better chances for rain will be on Monday. Now keep in mind, Red Bluff, Chico, and Chico in particular, you'll be dry most of the day on Monday. but it's Monday evening that rain will start to kick in for you. And then, of course, maybe some leftover sprinkles, light showers on Tuesday, drying out on Wednesday. Now, your 7-day outlook for the coast, yes, this is where we're seeing the heaviest rainfall, right? Now we're seeing Sunday showers, and I think we could see some measurable rainfall there. We take you out to Monday, that's where we have the heaviest rainfall, especially for the first half of the day. Then by the second half of the day, it begins to dry out. Tuesday, a slight chance for a few leftover showers, and for now, I'm drying out for Wednesday through Friday and even into the beginning of next week.